Alright, I fixed all the settings. I think I fixed the audio. I got three of these things. I got an Ethernet cable, I got Wi-Fi, and I got my 5G all. So hopefully this fixes everything with all the technical issues we've been having on the channel. I apologize. It's ridiculous. Somehow the streaming service that I was using, like it started recording after I had closed my computer. But let's just get right into the charts. Alright, so this is the 1 hour. Not looking too hot. Got a little doji to finish off the 1 hour. I got a little bit of Ethereum on that dip. It just dipped 1284 got the dip. So this is almost like a shooting star, morning star pattern right there. Got the X. So on the 1 hour. So I really drew out these candles. I went to the weekly chart. I went to the, it's only on the minute. I went to the weekly chart. I went to the monthly chart. And let's see. I really drew this out. I was trying to get this out yesterday, but my Wi-Fi was just ridiculous. Let's see. Let me check my connection, and then I'll explain what's going on here. Because I basically drew out everything that's going on right now on the larger time frames. Let's see. Excellent conditions. Alright, good. Yeah, sorry about the connection issues we've been having. It should be good. I got a freaking Thunderbolt cable. I freaking hate Apple so much. And so the Thunderbolt cable should fix everything. But Apple stores are all closed, so I have to. So, anyways, stream's getting fixed. 2 days max, it'll be perfect. Alright, so we had this. There's a few ways of looking at it. Right now we're on the daily. I'll break it down as we go into the hourly charts. But essentially, what you're looking at here is a top, and then another top, and then essentially two of these necklines potentially breaking out. It really is a triple top. And so, this would basically be one of the first necklines to break. This would essentially be one of the second necklines to break. It broke these necklines, but it didn't confirm it with a close. So usually when you have a breakout of, a double top formation, or a triple top, you want to have the neckline. You want to have one of the candlesticks at least on the 1 hour, but technically you want to have a 4 hour candlestick close on that we didn't see. So it actually was just wicked. Let's see. So this right here, this is a double bottom idea that's still in play. So I'm just going to break down all these macro charts. Okay, so this is an L, stands for low. This stands for lower low. So essentially you have this low, and then essentially you have this lower low right here. So that's what this is. This is the first low, and then this is potentially a lot of people in the industry like to call it a W pattern potentially. And the idea for that, if you're not used to professional trading, that's fine. I'll walk you through it. Essentially, this would be the first bottom, this would be the second bottom, and then the idea is these blue lines right here are macro pattern resistance lines, and these red channels right here are resistance channels, essentially, that Bitcoin's price action is going to have to break through. And then these white lines right here are going to be the support areas, and then this green channel right here is going to be the green support channel. So essentially, if Bitcoin was to come down, this would potentially be the channel where it finds support. These ideas are kind of major support lines. If these support lines break, then Bitcoin is definitely in trouble. And then right here, this is a massive support line. And then this is what I was talking about last night, which is the ginormous, we'll zoom out a little bit. This is the ginormous megaphone pattern right here. So you have the first line of the megaphone, the second line. This is on the weekly, but like obviously even though it's on the weekly, you can still look at it on the daily. And then essentially this is like a ginormous there's a lot of ways of looking at it, pennant, flag, but essentially what you have here is the idea of basically some downwards action, and then this would be like the broadest consolidation pattern of that idea. So it wouldn't break either way until it's broken at least these two lines, if that makes sense. So even if there's on the smaller time frames, a 1 hour, 2 hour, and you break out of this downwards price action, it's not until these two lines are broken that we're actually, and then obviously the technical analysis, you want to set a higher high, and if that's the case, then we're going to go a lot higher. But right now, looking, this is on the daily, and see, there's not a lot of action right here. Like, you can see that the idea for a bottom is negated on the daily. I think the weekly has a red dot, so to just say the price action is over, and that we're just not that we're just gonna wick right back up. I mean, it's possible, but essentially these are the areas that we're looking at right now. We're gonna go see this, make sure the connection's still good. Alright, let's see. Connection is, got a warning on the connection again. If I lag out or if you can't hear me or something, just let me know. I got the connection as good as it gets. I got an Ethernet cable today, but it doesn't plug in directly into the laptop until I can get the Thunderbolt cable, which Apple is sending me because all their stores are closed. Alright, 12 hour. Let's go to the 4 hour. So on the 4 hour, and I was noticing this last night, is you have a lot of bullish momentum on the 4 hour, like right here. You have this dark blue. See it right there, dark blue. And essentially we just want this to wake up. Buying momentum isn't terrible on the 4 hour. So you kind of have this idea on where we could see a correction in the immediate short term in the next 1 to 4 hours, and then possibly get rejected, and then because like when you look at the weekly, see you have the red dot right here, and then you have the massive darkening blue, which essentially signates that we're going to go down. Essentially, well, this is essentially like, well, not essentially, well, yeah, this is saying that it's a top right here on the weekly. And then monthly, I saw a channel where somebody was saying that the monthly candlesticks were bearish, and like I said before, I just don't see that to be the case. Like, I don't know what they're talking about. Maybe if we were to come down, I don't know. This doesn't look bearish to me at all. This looks very bullish. You have this and this and this, and essentially you could have this candlestick only be this, the next candlestick only be this high, and then the next candlestick only to be this high, and essentially you would still have a three white soldiers pattern playing out on the monthly. But the fact is that they get bigger and bigger, which is even more bullish. It's like nearly engulfing. Like, it's like a mixture between engulfing and three white soldiers. This is very bullish to me. Some people in the community saying the monthly candlesticks aren't, I don't know, they look bullish to me. And then you got the weekly. But this on the weekly is not looking hot. So essentially you have a doji or a morning star. It's hard to see the wick with these lines, and then you have a bearish engulfing right here on the weekly. So when you're looking at the monthly, looks good. When you're looking at the weekly, looks a little bearish. When you're looking at the daily, looks a little bearish. And then when you go down to the 4 hour and the 1 hour, it's looking good. So like how you would interpret that is in the next 1 to 4 hours, it's looking good. Over the next few days, things on the macro charts could start to play out, and there could be some continuation downside. And then overall, when you look at the monthly, it still looks good. So if that makes sense, short term we could see a pump, followed by in the next few days we could see a continuation down, and then we would most likely find critical support around if that idea does play out, that the chart patterns are essentially telling us, more so the candlestick patterns. Uh, if that story does play out, we'd be looking for support around 28,000 to 27,000 is really, because 28,000, 27,000, even if those don't hold like entirely, like in the immediate short term, and then this basically, if you were wondering, if those don't hold, like it'll take a while for us to drop lower. So this is essentially like a head and shoulders. And this head and shoulders idea is negated nearly entirely, but the fact that it is a head and shoulders pattern, and when you understand that head and shoulders patterns play out because of the way the charts are set up, like even though this head and shoulders pattern didn't play out, it's still in play, and we still need to think about it, because right here, even though this isn't, this head and shoulders is not necessarily, if this breaks the neckline, is not necessarily going to send the price lower. The same idea of this is a high, this is a lower high, and then this is a lower high, and then this is a lower high. It's still, head and shoulders ideas turn into other ideas. Like, for example, you have this right here, which is the head, and then you come down, and then this is essentially the first bottom and the double bottom, and then you have this, which is another bottom and the double bottom, or you essentially have this right here, which is this ginormous bottom, and then this ginormous bottom, and then a move upwards if we see the price action come up. So while this head and shoulders pattern is essentially negated in like the immediate short term, it's not, on everybody's mind. The more macro versions of like why this pattern like plays out the way it does, and why it's a textbook pattern, those ideas are still in play, even though this idea didn't necessarily play out. Alright, so let's take a look at a more cleaned up chart. I have a few charts to show you today, because yeah, that's pretty much the ideas on Bitcoin. It's consolidating. Dips seem to be relatively decent to buy. I'm more so looking into Ethereum, so let's check out Ethereum. Hopefully our connection's still good. I tried everything in my power to get the connection good, but you can only do so much, especially when the Apple stores. Alright, so it looks relatively good. It just has a warning. Alright, so this is the Ethereum charts. This is really what everybody in the space is looking at. So you have a lot of ideas playing out on these charts, but essentially the main things that you want to keep in mind is swing high, swing low, Fibonacci retracement. Essentially we hit this all-time high, we blew off, and essentially we're trading in the golden pocket right here. The reason I wanted to go over Bitcoin first and foremost is because Ethereum should not be tanking like it is. Like I said, it's highly correlated to Bitcoin. So when you see Ethereum tanking, that's because, oh, look at this. On the 4-hour, we got a nice dot. Let's see. Nice. But then you have all this red momentum, it looks like. What is that? No, that's not even the momentum waves. Oh, let's get that out of there. Alright. Yeah, it's looking good on the 4-hour for Ethereum. And, Bitcoin is looking pretty decent on the 1 to 4 hour. So in the immediate short term, these price action could do pretty well. It's doing almost exactly what you want to see it do. You have this doji, you have, I don't know if you would call that, but essentially you have a wick. You see this wick comes up, not very strong, but then you have this doji indecision, and then this idea is negating, the previous price action. So it's looking pretty good on the 4-hour. And essentially we just want to see this come up more, but it looks like this just formed. So the next 1 to 4 hours could be pretty decent for Ethereum. So it just comes down to, okay, the next 1 to 4 hours look pretty decent for Ethereum, but like longer term, we want to see, you know, is it going to go and is it going to hold these, you know, in a normal situation. The thing about assets is like with Ethereum, like everybody's expecting to get in at these lower prices. Everybody's going to buy in at these lower prices. So usually when you look at an asset, you're like, okay, so this is right here is the golden pocket, and then essentially this is resistance level 1, this is resistance level 2, this is resistance level 3, and essentially if it breaks through those 3 resistance areas, now you have to start thinking, okay, well, you know, the trend was bullish and we were bullish, but now because we've broken through all these resistance levels, we have to flip the idea that this could possibly be either an incredible accumulation zone or the idea that we're having a trend reversal. And with something like Ethereum, which is so ridiculously bullish right now, I mean, it's kind of just like buy the dip, is what it seems like. And like if it gets down to something like this could be an incredible area. This is like 1205 to 1140. But again, like if Bitcoin just starts tanking, you kind of have to negate this idea and follow Bitcoin. And then you know, if Bitcoin's continuing to drop and you're like, oh, well, you know, this is a good accumulation area. Well, if Bitcoin's continuing to drop, then, you know, negate this idea and wait for Bitcoin to stop dropping, find a support level, and that would be the best buy-in for Ethereum because, again, they're highly correlated. But because they're highly correlated doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, they're going to drop percentage for percentage. Ethereum never drops the same percentage as Bitcoin. And the fact that Ethereum, and if you've been trading this or looking at the charts a lot, you're going to notice this. Ethereum's been trading a lot better than Bitcoin. So Bitcoin might go down 5% and then Ethereum might only go down 3%. Now they're still correlated. They're still going to drop if you look at the charts at the exact same time. They're still going to move together. But Ethereum, you know, is holding its value much better because the markets know that Ethereum's a really good buy right now. So this is the 1 hour. The blue candlestick, or this blue triangle right here, essentially is a trend reversal. And it looks like it's in an uptrend, and then that trend is possibly reverting, is what it looks like. And then it's saying that we don't have a top yet. RSI looks good. Again, this fractal idea usually always plays out where it hits this RSI on the upper bands right in these dotted areas and then tends to come down. So to negate that idea, we want to see more volume. Volume's good and we're holding volume, but we want to see more volume and the volume trending up. The other thing is you see this red volume and it's not as high as the green volume, basically showing that there's more bullish momentum in the short term. Alright, that's the 1 hour. And then let's take a look at ADA. Cardano. Cardano's, if you can get a good price on it, it's a good coin. So essentially you have a long idea right here, and then essentially a trend reversal, basically showing that, you know, we might just be cooling off right now. And then in a second we'll take a look at BTCD, Bitcoin dominance, and then I want to see, I believe I've seen once or twice that a large cap percentage of how much money is flowing into the large cap altcoins, and if that is the case, let me check my internet connection. Let's see, because I stream for like 30 minutes sometimes and I'll just lag out because I don't know what the deal is. Alright, we're still good. We're not healthy on the connection, but we're still good. Alright. So this is kind of the bigger ideas on ADA. Zoom out a little bit more and then we'll start working our way back in. So ADA is Cardano, and essentially we're looking at what's a good buying opportunity for Cardano. Right now, we had that dip on Ethereum, and I was looking into, I was doing these charts last night, and I was looking into, where's a good area to buy into Cardano, and then I saw that dip on Ethereum, and I just had to pick some more Ethereum up. Got some bullish idea, bearish. All right, it's on the 6 hour. So essentially right here, what you're looking at, these ideas, let me go out to where I essentially drew them so you can get a better idea of what you're looking at. See, we'll go to the daily. Alright. So essentially right here you have the tops of essentially you have like the main tops of where Ethereum or where Cardano is hit. So this is basically a trend line. For Cardano to move higher, it needs to break above this trend line that it set. So this was a high, and then essentially I think it was like around here, it was a lower high, and essentially you have this downtrend, essentially. And so this is a trend line, and as soon as Cardano's price can break above this downtrend that it's set, then it can start working towards moving towards new all-time highs, and it will be very bullish. And then essentially you have this idea, I believe this was on the weekly, of essentially the bottom of this consolidation pattern, and it looks like right now we're below it, but the trending lines of, it's either on the daily or the weekly. It was some candlesticks prior, and they're still in play. And then you can obviously see right here, there's some touch points. So essentially this is also a resistance area. So what you can do so that you understand it better. What do we do? Do we do blue as resistance usually? So dark blue, make it thick. There we go. So essentially you have this resistance idea, and the idea would essentially be that Bitcoin comes up to around Cardano comes up to around 36 cents, and then essentially we're looking for either a rejection or a support at these levels. These levels right here. This is just massive resistance area. You can see like Ethereum's Cardano's price comes up here, gets rejected, comes up here, gets rejected, comes up here, gets rejected. So this is just almost like a resistance channel right here. And so like in the immediate short term, we're at least looking for this break right here, which just like the analytics, like just like in the immediate short term, like it's fallen out of this pattern right here. So it wasn't trading in this pattern, it's trading in all these different, it's broken out of everything. This is the last major support line. So essentially we're looking for a balance between these areas right here, and I don't think it's gonna happen, but it just depends on BTCD. But 23 cents Cardano, 24-cent Cardano would be very appealing. There's not a lot of resistance, or there's not a lot of support. I mean, you have the EMA ribbon, but that's on the hourly. Let's see. So potentially, if there's enough pressure, we could move down and consolidate in this level, and then this would definitely be, if you could get something like 23 cents, that would be. But even though there's not any major support lines holding it up at that level, the fact that there's so much buying pressure, people like in the space, like I hear so many people talk about Cardano now, and I remember when I was like an OG, just like repping Cardano, like, oh, Cardano is like such a good cryptocurrency and stuff. I was accumulating like back when it was hardly doing anything, and then out of the blue we just get a 150% increase. So like, well, that's cool, kinda. I wish I would have been able to accumulate longer. I mean, we got a good accumulation, but so that's pretty much the idea with Cardano, is essentially no major trend lines. I mean, we can pull up VPR. How do I even get I don't think we have VPR. Let's see, Gmochi Cloud. I can't remember the abbreviation to get VPR. Support. I think it's like VRP. in or something, but I typed in a bunch of that stuff and it wasn't working. Alright, so yeah, that's fine. Wow. And then the Ichimochi cloud is below that ginormous support line. So like, I mean, like, look at the drop that it would take, you know. And then we pulled up, look how many moving averages we pulled up. We pulled up the EMA 20, 55, 89, 200, SMA 50, SMA 100, SMA 200. We'll put these guys in too. I mean, look at all the, and I mean, I guess there is some support. Oh, and this is on the daily. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, Cardano's got a lot of support as far as the moving averages, and an idea that it bounces off one of these moving averages is more likely. It looks like it bounced off this one right here. Now I have like every single moving average, like basically, that you can get, so I have no clue which one this is, but it looks like it, you know, if it was to break below this point, you know, this would essentially be around 31.5 cents is essentially where you'd find support on this next one, right? I turned up the resolution on the video, so hopefully you can see that it's like 31 cents and then 6, so 31.6 cents, so like 31 and then 0.6 cents. And then we would just take it level by level. It looks like it's finding good support on those. But Cardano, is it a buy? Is it a sell? The Cardano's hot, and I love Cardano, but I don't think it's going to get the attention that Ethereum's getting right now. Long term, ADA all day, every day. I just don't see a real lucrative opportunity. You know, it's just like Google stock. I mean, Google stock is incredible. I mean, they're working on AI, self-driving cars, they're working on everything. But right now it's a little high appraised value for what you could get in cryptocurrency. You're just not going to see the same returns. Alright, so we're looking at the BTCD. It's trended upwards, and you can kind of see that like curve right here is, you know, we're not getting that like insane altcoin season that you would, I mean, because think about it, this is on the daily chart, so I mean, we're higher up today than we were yesterday. And again, that's that idea possibly that people are taking profits and things like that, but I mean, it's not altcoin season. You know, you have this low, or you have this high, and then you have this higher, or and then you have this lower high, and then you have this lower high right here. Essentially, you have, I mean, it's rough, but essentially you have a doji right here, which basically signals indecision, but I think it's just cool enough to move lower is probably what everybody in the space is going to say. And then the fact that we were able to keep up with volume on the daily is really good. I mean, technically, you know, you have this trend up, you know, this is actually smaller, and then this is actually a little bit larger, and then these are equal. So, I mean, looks like a relatively, not financial advice, but looks like a pretty relatively good continuation of like we're just breathing. And let me see, large cap. Large cap alt D. Do we have it? Is it there? This would be crypto. Because we have Ethereum D, Ethereum dominance, but alt D. Let's see if alt D pops up. No, alt D doesn't. Let's see what we got for D. I guess we can just look at Ethereum dominance right now. So you type in ETH.D and you get Ethereum dominance. There we go. Oh, so maybe it's just not in. Okay. Okay, this looks good. see, volume again, like it's just right. It's just like volume's trending a little bit down, but I mean, you're gonna get those buyers and sellers, as soon as Ethereum dips, like nobody really wants to sell right now because they know the potential. So let's see, D, so large cap coins. It's probably be alts. D. Oh yeah, what you would do is you'd go to this and then you press this button and then you'd go to the exchange. So trading view. What exchange is ETH on? Because it's fine. We're probably just trading mid caps. I'd like to get like a specific chart that shows that we're trading mid caps specifically, and that and then also just for things like Ethereum. Oh, can you just get ADAD? Because that's really what I want. Oh, nice. Okay. Gorgeous. Alright, so this is on the daily. And it looks like, just Ethereum or Cardano dominance is really. I mean, Cardano is a great coin and everything, but in altcoin season is still in play. But essentially, like if you're looking into Cardano, I mean, this would probably be the main. This would probably be one of the main charts you look at. Essentially, you want to see like, is money flowing back into Cardano, or are people taking profits in Cardano and then putting them into more mid-cap coins, which seems to be the case. And then again, like I said, ETH's ETH's dominance and essentially what you're looking at right here is you're looking at what is the percentage dominance of, in this case, Cardano's market. So essentially what it's saying right here is that Cardano's percentage, like the amount of money in cryptocurrency that's devoted towards Cardano, is 1.13% of the entire cryptocurrency cap is devoted in Cardano. And did you see that? Did you see that? We just got a freaking bearish daily close. So yeah, I mean, it just looks like Cardano's not necessarily the move right now. People aren't putting their money into it. It looks like they're taking their money, putting it into other coins. And essentially we would be looking for more downside before an opportunity arose. Because on this channel, we only cover the best coins, and obviously Cardano has to be on that list. Let me see if my stream's not lagging or whatnot. Alright. So it just says warning, but it looks like we're good. Alright, so we're going to go back to Bitcoin, BTC, and then on the daily. So we'll start on the 4 hour, and now that I kind of explained those macro charts. Alright, so I'm gonna turn off the Ichimoku cloud and such, just because like its relevance is only on the time frame that you're looking at, and since we're just trying to get an understanding of the market, we're not going to be looking at it because it might be up right here, but then on the daily it might be down. So like I said, it's only relatively important based off the relevance of what charts you're looking at, the time frame. It's got this doji, essentially like, almost like a reversal pattern, but it's looking good. It's looking good on the 4 hour, and that's kind of the idea that we were talking about. Again, like the 1 to 4 hour looks really good. And essentially, what you want to measure is essentially volume. And even though these charts look good, the fact that we are have volume right here, and you have volume right here, and this is basically, just saying that we want to go up, and then you have this idea right here where we went up, and then there's less buying pressure, and then right here, like the volume just fell off a cliff right here, and it's like you can't even really measure how low that is, like on a trend line, like it's so ridiculously low. And so it really just seems like Bitcoin is consolidating, and we can go down to the 4 hour, but it looks like just looking at or we can go down to the 1 hour, but just looking at the 4 hour, it looks like Bitcoin's consolidating. The name of the game. Now let me tell you the name of the game, because I told you guys, Ethereum was a good buy like a few days ago, and it was an incredible buy, and I told you guys Cardano was a good buy like almost a week ago, and it was, you guys know I know what I'm talking about, but what am I telling you here? Why I'm not wasting your time when I say that Bitcoin's consolidating. Here's the name of the game. I mean, you can do whatever you want with the mid caps, but on this channel, we have 100% accuracy, and that's not changing. In the mid caps, you could make money, you could not, but like the name of the game on this channel, like the best strategy by far is essentially looking at Bitcoin. Looking at Bitcoin right now, Doji, we're losing some volume, but essentially we want to see, what's going on with Bitcoin, and is Bitcoin going to continue to drop or not? Because if Bitcoin continues to drop, then getting into Ethereum right now is probably not a good idea. If Bitcoin does not, and again, not financial advice, but if Bitcoin continues to drop, then getting into Ethereum right now is probably not a good buy. But you want to watch it. You want to watch Bitcoin to see what's going to go on with Ethereum. ADA is a good token, but it just doesn't look like it's it. I mean, we can go over maybe the Polkadot charts. Maybe they've had time to, like I said on this channel, like the price, like if you talk about Polkadot market cap. Is this .d? No, this is just dot. What the heck? Okay. Weird. I guess we can look at that. Because this is really important to get an idea of, where's the money flowing. Because if Polkadot's market dominance is losing value, then essentially, it's more flowing into the altcoins, and it looks like that is potentially the case. I mean, you can obviously see this down, high, lower high, low, lower low. There are other coins, like I said, like, just on this channel, like I said, I've had a hard time, and I'm not trying to be like egocentric, but I'm just thinking if I'm having a hard time staking Polkadot, I think that once, a lot of the retail in this space, starts to get in to trying to stake their Polkadot, and they realize that the network isn't, running optimally or user friendly, like and then especially compared to Cardano, like it is so ridiculously easy to stake Cardano on ADA Lite IO, and I just don't think that the retail really has that factored in. I've never really heard anybody talk about it, but I'm pretty crypto savvy. Like comparing me to any normal person, I'm very crypto savvy, and if I can't, and like if I can set up my Polkadot wallet, and if I can set up, and connect it to my ledger and do all that stuff, and then I'm having difficulty uh, staking my dot, not because of any negligence on my end, but because of the fact that the validator nodes don't want to run my like collateral, my use my dot as, staking my dot, using it as rewards, even when I'm tipping relatively. And tipping is like an incentive on the network to stake your your Cardano or your Polkadot. And if I'm doing all these things and I'm still having issues staking it, so you guys know my sentiment on the channel for DOT. Is it going to go up over the long term? Yeah, I mean, it's a really good project. I'm just having a hard time staking it, and the fact that I'm having a hard time staking it most likely means that there's probably not just me that's having a difficult time with it. And it's not like I don't know how to do it, it's the fact that they're not valid, the nodes aren't selecting. So, let's go to Polkadot's actual price. But essentially, yeah, I mean, it does look bearish. I mean, it like in the overall trend, it is saying on Market Cipher that on the hourly chart on Polkadot dominance that it is at a bottom and that it's going to trend higher again. Take it, not as an absolute truth. The fact is, like let's look at it relevantly. We're looking at the hourly chart. That only carries like a relative amount of significance. See, like on the 4 hour, which is what most people trade off of, and then on top of that, we're one step ahead of everybody. I've never seen anybody go over the DOT dominance charts. Like, that's nuts, in a good way, for the channel. But like, you just got to think that a lot of these, like BTCD, Bitcoin dominance, it's a percentage. It's not an actual like token, or there's no value there. So it more so runs off of self-fulfilled prophecies. So the fact that like there is a Head and Shoulders doesn't mean a Head and Shoulders has to play out, but because people think it's gonna play out, it like is a self-fulfilling prophecy. All right, looks like pretty decent on the 4 hour. Looks like it's getting a decent recovery. Again, you would just want to see on the 4 hour, you would just want to see this price action a little bit above this one right here. And then obviously volume is not looking good on the 4 hour. That is not a good volume. And essentially this could just be showing that, like we've been, like the idea that we've been perpetuating is that a lot of these coins, Chainlink, like we talked about Chainlink when it was hot, and then I told you guys, like it's a good coin, trust me, it's a good coin, but like right now it's not it, and it wasn't, and we saw some market dominance loss of that coin, and like I said, like DOT right now, we're trying to figure out, it looks like a lot of and you can see the trending volume right here on the 6 hour, and you can see the doji, and then this isn't a textbook doji, but it's the same principle of essentially we go up, we go down, and we're back in the middle. We don't, like the bulls and the bears are kind of fighting, and the price action is just, and then essentially you have a doji inside of a doji. I mean, textbook, that's not how you're going to see it, but like once you understand the fundamentals, this is essentially a doji inside of a doji. And essentially, the bears and the bulls, like nobody can really win, and volume is falling off a cliff right here. Essentially, on the 6 hour, you have the high, lower high, lower high. So it just like this idea that we're perpetuating, and it seems to be the case with DOT, is that money's flowing into the mid caps, and if you don't want to get risky and you don't want to get into the mid caps, Ethereum seems to be relatively decent, just because Bitcoin keeps dropping, and even though Ethereum shouldn't be dropping, because Ethereum is correlated to Bitcoin, it's forcing Ethereum to go lower, and that's good for getting entry prices on Ethereum. But just remember, if you don't want to get wrecked in Ethereum, make sure you're watching Bitcoin, because if Bitcoin decides to dump, then Ethereum's going to dump and you're going to get liquidated. Now, I'm not saying or recommending anybody necessarily. I do have an open position on Ethereum, longing it on an extremely conservative leverage, but we're also cost-based averaging in right now, so I don't even know what it was, but we were getting in at like 11, like when there was a dip to like 12, whatever, But essentially what you would do is, finding the dip is you would look at Bitcoin and then you would wait for Bitcoin to find a bottom and then, let's see, Chainlink. Is it? Yeah, it's going to be a link. I was just literally thinking that as Link USD. Gemini. Oh crap, we're lagging. Okay, let's see. Okay, we didn't lag out. I was like, oh, we lagged out. We didn't lag out. Alright. So essentially, it's kind of let's just look, because, I mean, mid caps are fun, but like, if you're gonna do mid caps, on this channel, I'm gonna say the same thing. Unless you're really getting a really good mid cap, they're risky. And then if you get a really good mid cap and alt season continues, then you want to start putting your mid caps into extremely good low caps and taking profits. So like, essentially, again, not a financial advisor, but the strategy always, and I kind of want to outsource for mid and low caps. I mean, I can tell you the mid and low caps I'm holding, and they're good, but you'd probably be better off looking at something like Elio Trades. Like, he's probably the biggest person with altcoins in the space. And then BitBoy does do some good altcoins. And then, who is it? Crypto Lark, he sometimes does, if there's a really good project and it's in the sentiment. But then kind of underrated is Chico Crypto. He does some decent sometimes, but his are very, very conservative, and he didn't like certain projects because they weren't ethically correct. So he has more of like an objective, like that kind of sentiment, not just gains entirely. Like, if you've been watching him for a while, you'll see that. But let's take a look at Link, see if there's an opportunity in Link. Volume's not looking good, but it's not, this is higher and this is technically higher. So, but then you do have this correction. Yeah, I mean, it's mostly going to be mid caps, and really what I would say to mid caps is this. I mean, am I doing mid caps? I haven't. I hold a little bit, but there's nothing really like a new opportunity that I'm seeing right now. Essentially, what you would be doing is you would be taking your large caps that you would potentially have had profits into. What I'm doing is I'm doing the Ethereum. So I'm going to be longing Ethereum, and I think that's the best risk to reward ratio idea. But the whole market looks like it's going to be doing mid cap coins, and so essentially, you want to find a mid cap gem, you want to put your capital in, and essentially, what they usually do is they usually say this for low. They usually say this for small and micro cap coins, but I'll definitely say it for mid cap, because on this channel we're like extremely conservative, because you want to, if you're in cryptocurrency right now, like, congratulations, you're gonna make so much money if you're conservative. The only chance you have of screwing up all your gains are is if you take a lot of risk, you put all your money into some like low caps, and then you lose everything. That's really the only way you're gonna, people make it complicated. Really, all you have to do is hold Bitcoin for the next 10 years, or hold Ethereum for the next 10 years, or hold Cardano for the next 10 years, and you already made it. But that there are good opportunities, and so yeah, on this channel we're longing Ethereum when we find an area of strength, is what we always do. We always find an area, a really good area, where we find essentially what, relatively speaking, I mean, nobody can 100% predict a bottom, but from what the charts say a bottom is, we long from that area of like power, essentially, instead of just like guessing a dip. And then obviously you don't put all your money into that. You cost base average if you're not 100% on the absolute bottom. If it keeps dropping, then you have your capital to cost base average down your entry price. But so what we're doing, that's what we're doing. Now, if you want to be risky, you want to follow the market, essentially what you would do is you would put your capital into a mid coin, cost base averaging, looking for bottoms, coming in from an area of support. These are all good ideas, especially with something riskier like a mid cap, or, just looking at the sentiment. But what you do is you take, if you're putting $100 into one of these coins, if it goes up 100%, then what you do is you pull your capital. So if your coin, is up 100%, you pull and you put in 100%, or if you put in $100, then you essentially pull, $100, and then you made 100%. So you take $100, you still have $100 in the coin. That's how you deleverage from coins. And deleveraging in altcoins is something that we're definitely going to highly, we can't recommend anything legally because we're not financial advisors, but something to definitely look into is deleveraging, de-risking on altcoins if that is the route that you're looking at getting into. And then obviously you would take, if it was me, I would take my profits from my mid caps, and if you're gonna go into small caps, I would take my profits from my mid caps and put them into my small caps. Now, that's not really the way that I like to go, but it just depends on how massive this alt season is. I mean, and really we got to look at Bitcoin and its consolidation to really find out how big of an alt season we're going to get. But if it is a big altcoin season, then you would potentially take your mid cap profits, is what the conservative thing to do would be, is to take your mid cap profits and then put that into, or you would take your initial capital out of the coin, the mid cap. But essentially when you just, and you always you don't want to just throw your money at coins. You want to get the good ones, obviously, is like what I'm saying. It's, you come in, and then from the small caps you can go to the micro caps, but again, this is only if you have an extremely strong alt season. And then essentially what you would do to get the absolute highest ROI in crypto would be putting your money back into either Bitcoin or one of the larger caps. Bitcoin would be the conservative move. Ethereum would putting profits back into Ethereum right now, or in the relative future, as long as you haven't missed that parabolic move that it's about to make. Those are going to be the best ideas. So essentially right now we're on mid caps. You would put your money into mid caps, get a really good one, make sure it 100x's. Once it 100x's, take your initial capital out, which, like, if you put in 100 and you made 100%, then you'd have 200 in the position. You would take your initial 100 out, put it into a small cap. When the small cap 100x's, you would take your initial capital out, put it into a mid cap. Get the gains off the mid cap and then put it back into Bitcoin or Ethereum or potentially Cardano. We'll see if we get a good buying opportunity. Let's see, is the stream still good? Ask me any questions if you have it, but yeah, this is essentially the ideas that we're looking at right now. Again, on this channel, in the immediate short term, we're looking at the price of Bitcoin, which, I mean, no matter what your strategy is, you have to look at Bitcoin, because if Bitcoin starts to dump or if Bitcoin starts to pump, that's immediately going to have an impact on altcoins. Essentially, you have this idea right here. Let me draw it out for you. I don't know how many trend lines I've drawn out on this stream. So essentially what you would do, there's two ways to do it, but essentially on this idea we will be doing candle body to candle body. So you would put that right there, and that's the first candle body touch, and then this is the second candle body touch, and then this is correlated, and then essentially this would be the third. So essentially you have 3 touches right here on the candle bodies, making it a valid touch point, and then essentially, like in this idea right here on the 4 hour, what we would do, you know, it just comes from experience in like trading the market, trying to figure these things out, like because you know you want to do what makes the most sense, and right here the most sense looks like this. That's so gorgeous how it just, you know, it automatically knows that this is support and this is resistance. That's so gorgeous. All right, so 1, 2, 3 touches. All right, and then essentially you just move that like right there. All right, gorgeous. So essentially right here on the 4 hour we have this consolidation pattern. Again, it's definitely a consolidation pattern with the drop in volume. Potential bottom, but we'll see. We're looking for support in the immediate short term on this level right here. All right. 1 hour. You know, 2 hour people just don't look at. People don't look at 3 hour. People don't look at 5 hours. So it's like I said, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So now you'll notice right here, these don't necessarily add up. You know, it's like, where are the connections right here? And it doesn't matter because you drew it on the 4 hour. So it is 100% fine that none of this looks like it's adding up, because it's not a 4 hour or it's not a 1 hour chart, it's on the 4 hour. And relatively speaking, well, just like, yeah, in general speaking, a higher time frame takes more precedence. So let's see what we're looking at on the 1 hour. Essentially, this could be a W idea. Here, let me draw it out for you. Essentially, like it's not really what you would want to see, but it's still okay. So essentially you'd come down right here. This would be the first bottom, second bottom, neckline. Oh my gosh, that was terrible. Neckline, there we go. And then measured move. Okay, so we'll start out with this trend line, drop. So like I said, on this channel we always go conservative because you can always make more money, but you can't make less money when you lose it. Like once you lose your money, you lost your money. You know what I'm saying? All right, and it looks like that idea did play out. That's on the conservative measurement. Losses compound, gains compound. So if you're constantly making gains, they're going to compound. Whereas if you're constantly losing money, like it's going to compound. Because like if you lose $100, that's like $100 that you could have added to another trade. And if you gain $100, that's like another $100, and now you have $200 and you can make more money on your next trade. So gains always compound, losses always compound. So on this channel we are extremely conservative. Alright, then we're going to go to cross, then we're going to delete this. So like our conservative target's already been hit, but this is just an idea. This is just a measured move idea of where we could potentially be going. We do have a trend reversal though right here, so this could play into. Alright, we lost the connection and I guess we are good. Are we good? Alright, we're good. We just literally lagged out. I have like an Ethernet cable, like I said, I'm working on it. 2 days max will be good. So what we want to do is we want to get the Fibonacci retracement. So yeah, like I said, 2 days max will be good. But I have an Ethernet cable. I tried everything to get a better connection. Where is the fib? I literally pulled it out so many times on this channel. We're essentially going to get a Fibonacci retracement area on these levels on the 1 hour. So not only can we have the trend lines, but we'll have the Fibonacci levels on the immediate short term. We already looked at the longer term perspective, so just make sure you go back and you seriously. All right, Fibonacci. So just you can go back and look at the stream, and then essentially you just want to make sure that you are looking at. Oh wow, yeah. So that would probably be. Yeah, we'll get a good look at both of these. 1 second. So first one would go right here. Wow, that's really interesting. Alright, we'll take a look at that in a second. So essentially, we have potential resistance at this area, or potential support at this area right here where it's holding right above. This is the golden pocket. Like I said, on TradingView they don't make it the golden pocket, but it is the golden pocket, and that's on the trend-based fib. Then we're going to pull out the other fib, and I do this all the time. This is a great way because essentially they both in this instance come into play. So that was the trend-based fib. Now we're going to use Fibonacci retracement. Gonna have to readjust it. So alright, because essentially right here you have this idea where price is coming down, but essentially how low is it going to go? And essentially if you had this 0.786 level, essentially if it broke through there, then it would most likely be a continuation to the downside. Whereas you also have this essential blow off top area, and essentially are we just cooling off? Are we just taking profits, and are we going to retrace? So we're taking a look at both ideas at the same time. And usually, I mean, it depends on the trader, but like I said, if you're really into it, you're gonna have like Fibonacci retracement tools inside Fibonacci retracement tools. And then inside Fibonacci retracement tools makes it a little difficult because they're all color coded. But yeah, and it's nice that these line up. So this is a pretty major support area, potentially. If we break this level, expect, at least continue consolidation between these levels, and then it looks like within the next, so this is 1, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, it'll have to make a decision. Alright, let me make sure my connection's good and we didn't lag out. This stream will end shortly unless you please check connection. Yeah, I mean, and I think a lot of that has to do with the resolution. I'll turn down the resolution because we went into way too high resolution. But essentially this is, I'm going to let the and you got a doji right here, consolidation, I mean downtrend on, like, you have this upwards momentum, and then essentially no continuation either way. You have less buying pressure, so you have this essentially high and then higher high, and then you have this high, or you have this low and then a lower low. So like either way you look at it, we're losing volume and it's printing on the candlesticks. So it looks like we're just going to consolidate between these levels right here, and really what we're looking at are, potentially we have this right here, which is the upper band, and then this is the resistance, and essentially, and I mean you could draw another one right here, but I just don't want to clutter the charts. And then I mean you technically could draw another one right here, so but then essentially this is the support line right here, and that comes from the 4 hour. So even though it doesn't line up with this current price action, it's 100% valid, and we break that down earlier. And then essentially if this area was to break, these would potentially be the support lines that we're looking at. And then if it breaks this, an idea continued to the downside, if not consolidation, are in play. Hopefully I got all that out before the stream dropped. Are we still good? Alright, we're still alive. Alright, I'm gonna end the stream right there. I'm gonna check on my connections, try and fix my connections. Like I said, 2 days max. 2 days max, we'll have this. We'll have the Ethernet cable directly connected to the computer, and it shouldn't lag. But on the next stream, I'm just going to turn down the resolution a little bit, and hopefully that should help fix it. I think it will.